Members of the 32nd Senate District to order. Pursuant to Section 2-6.3 of our rules and regulations, in order to carry out the orderly process of this county committee meeting, I hereby appoint the following. A credentials committee. The chair will be Marissa Soto. Tellers to aid in the tallying the roll call, which will be Anthony Perez and Eves Filius, and also a parliamentarian, who will be Mariela Salazar. The first order of business is to call the roll. In order to call the roll, I ask the Credentials Committee Chair to please report on whether the county committee members have properly signed in for this meeting. Thank you. The Credentials Committee Chair has so advised me, and I recognize that a quorum is present. I call upon the parliamentarian, Mariela Salazar, to read a brief summary of our rules and procedures under which this meeting shall be conducted.
Summary of the rules relating to the procedures to be followed at the meeting of the Bronx Democratic County Committee held on February 15, 2018. Pursuant to Section 7-4 of the Rules and Regulations of the Bronx Democratic Party, unless otherwise provided within such rules, the procedures for meeting of the county committee shall be governed by Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised. The order of business at this county committee meeting will be speakers. Only those persons who are duly elected, or the officers of this body, or elected officials residing within the 32nd Senate District will be permitted to speak to the issues raised in these proceedings. Recognition of the speakers. All such speakers must first recognized by the chairperson and must address this body by means of the microphone which has been provided. Number of speakers, length of speech. No nomination speech shall be longer than 3 minutes. There shall not be more than 3 seconders for any nomination. Voting procedure, Section 2-6.7. All voting of this body shall be voiced unless the chairperson shall decide that a vote shall be by standing division or by roll call.
We are here to nominate a Democratic candidate for the public office of the member of Assembly from the public office of member of Senate from the 32nd Senate District in the special election to be held on April 24th, 2018. The chair recognizes Honorable Julia Rodriguez. For the purpose of seconding the nomination, the chair recognizes Mohammed Mujender.
I proudly second the nomination of Louis Chiquita as the state speaker of the district Senate District.
For the purpose of seconding this nomination, the chair recognizes the Honorable Cynthia Cox. Are there any additional nominations for the position of the state senator from the 32nd Senate District? The chair recognizes Thank you. Is there a second nomination? Okay, may you please stand and introduce yourself? Okay, thank you. Are there any seconders? Any other seconders? Okay, hearing none. Are there any additional nominations this evening? Okay, so the nominations are hereby now closed. All of those in favor of Louis Sepulveda as the Democratic Party candidate for state senator from the 32nd Senate District for the special election to be held on April 24th, 2018, please, if you can, at this time, please rise. Mr. Michael Belzer, at this time, if you are able to, please stand.
Senior is now councilman.
Thank you very much. At this time, the chair has seen that the Democratic Party candidate for the state senator from the 32nd Senate District is Louis Sepulveda. The next order of business is the selection of a committee to fill vacancies for the certificate of nomination for the nomination of state senator from the 32nd Senate District. Are there any nominations at this time? The chair recognizes Ms. Judy Bronstein. Thank you.
Why not?
For the state senate. Okay, thank you very much.
It is interesting.
At this time, for the purpose of seconding the nomination, the chair recognizes Mr. David Porter.
As the committee to fill the vacancies for the district of nomination for the nomination for state senator from the 32nd.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I move that nominations are closed. All those in favor of Ms. Marissa Soto, Latoya Joyner, and Jeffrey Dinowitz as the committee to fill vacancies for the certificate of nomination for the nomination of state senate from the 32nd Senate District, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, and Marissa Soto, Latoya Joyner, and Jeffrey Dinowitz have been selected as the committee to fill vacancies for this certificate of nomination for the nomination of state senator from the 32nd Senate District. At this time, we call upon Julian Sepulveda to introduce the new candidate. Thank you.
That's his son.
Thank you, Assemblymember. I want to really thank each and every one of you today for showing up for my dad. He's a hardworking guy. He cares about our community. He already fights hard for us in the Assembly, and I know he's going to continue to fight for us in the New York State Senate as our next senator. So without further ado, I want to call up, with your permission, my father, currently our Assemblyman, also currently the Democratic nominee for the 32nd Senate District, Assemblyman Luis R. Sepulveda. Oh wow, thank you so much. God is good. All the time. Wow, gracias. Que lo bendiga a todos. This is an incredible honor and privilege. I'm just overwhelmed by the support that I have here. And there's some people that you want to thank. First of all, I want to thank God, first and foremost, for His blessings. I want to thank my lovely wife and my family. And one of the greatest gifts that any person can ever receive are children. So I want to thank my children, and specifically my son who introduced me. That if I knew he was going to do so well, I probably would have been a lot nicer to him. But every day that he's been born, I have been so proud of him. He's such a wonderful human being, and you couldn't have a better child, a better son than the one that I have. So thank you, Julian. God bless you, and Dad loves you. Organizing an event like this is very, very difficult. It takes a lot of people. And so I want to thank the Democratic County Committee, all the volunteers who helped. And certainly I want to thank Anthony Perez, who wears the greatest socks in the Bronx. I want to thank Marissa Soto, Stanley Schlein, and your work, the work that you do does not go unnoticed. And I also want to thank my colleague, who I go to war with every day in the Assembly, LaToya Jordan. Let's give her a big hand of applause. She's a fantastic leader. I also want to thank my volunteers who've done amazing work, knocking on your doors, going to the train stations at all hours of the day in freezing weather. I just want to mention them quickly. My Chief of Staff, Ibrahim Shatara, Cecilia, yes, and Tisha Teasley, and for us in Electoral College for many years, you can even applaud for Bob Capstetter, Tanya Carrion, and Destiny Tucker, and of course, my crazy, incomparable counsel, Ashby Sack. Let's give him a big hand of applause. I'm also grateful to two people, Hung and Yu, who've been supporters of mine for many, many years, and Effie Sack, who's very generous with his support. They deserve a big hand of applause. Now, the Democratic Party in the Bronx has changed the dynamics of this county. Marcos Crespo has continued a renaissance and amazing progress in the Democratic Party that began with Roberto Ramirez, Assemblyman Jose Rivera, and Speaker Carl Hastie. Yes? Mr. Chairman, where are you? He is a taller, younger, and bigger version than I am. Mr. Chairman, in a very short period of time, you have impressed many of us, even old dogs like me. You have turned this party into a powerful machine in this county, in the state, a force to be reckoned with. And I'm sure you're going to continue to do great things because you got off to a great start. And I thank you for the great work you're doing for this county. And God bless you all the time. And I hope you're the county leader for a very long time. I also want to thank our current board president, Ruben Diaz Jr., who I hope in a few years we'll be calling him Mayor Ruben Diaz Jr. I want to thank Carl Hastie, who who out of 4 to 6 years that I have been in the assembly, he has been our speaker. And I can tell you that every day that I've served with him, he's treated me with nothing but dignity and respect, and has provided us in the 87th Assembly District with the resources that we've needed to help improve the lives of the people that live there. So let's give the speaker a big hand as well. I also want to thank my district leader, Julia Rodriguez. Julia just celebrated her 25th birthday. She is a fantastic district leader to have. She's made me work, and she's made me hustle out there during elections, and I thank you so much for your support. I want to thank Tony Figueroa, Cynthia Cox, John Tucker. I'm not sure if he's here, but I want to thank all of you for helping me with this endeavor. I also want to thank Beverly Roberts, the head of the NAACP in Parkchester. Beverly, thank you for your support. And I also want to thank Reverend Felicia Smith. Where are you, Reverend? She is my friend. She is my moral compass. She gives me great advice, and she's a big supporter. Thank you, and God bless you. Now, to me, ladies and gentlemen, the Bronx is the best place in the world to live. That's right.
Not for long.
You know, there's always room for improvement. But look at what we've done, what the political leadership here has done in the Bronx. We now have the highest graduation rates that we've ever had. We've had a historic drop in crime, something we've never seen before. We have affordable housing. We have great leaders that I go to bat with every time. And I just want to acknowledge some of them right here, like Rafael Salamanca, who's a great leader, a very superior. Latoya Joyner, who's also, we love her. People that may or may not be here, but I want to acknowledge Congressman Serrano and Espaillat, Mike Benedetto, Jeff Klein, Victor Pichardo, and of course, the guy who knows more about county committee and knows the address, number, phone number, birthday of all the county committee, that's Jeff Dinowitz. Now, difficult times may be coming soon. We've noticed recently that the Republican Party and the President passed a tax bill that was, no matter how you cut it, designed to benefit the wealthiest people in this country. The problem is that it's going to be at the expense of our people. Corporations shortly, and the very wealthy will be swimming in cash, while we're going to have to deal with deficits. You see, because anytime you have deficits in this country, anytime, when they want to balance the budget, they balance the budgets on poor, middle-class, hardworking people like yourselves. The Republicans are going to attempt to cut Medicaid. There's no doubt about that. They're going to try to cut education, housing programs, and housing subsidies. But I'm so proud that I have great colleagues in government that we go to fight every day for each and every one of them. And some of them are here. And we're going to continue to fight. Now, we have a president, unfortunately, that finds among white supremacists, he finds good people. And yet, he refers to black NFL players who are engaging in peaceful protests as SOBs. We have a president that wants to give the Koch brothers who own Walmart $3 billion in tax benefits, while at the same time proposing to change food stamps so that we can give people boxes of food that's selected by the government. We have a president who refers to serial wife beaters as honorable men, but then tries to shame those women who come out against them. We have a Republican speaker who brags about giving a person $1.50 increase in their weekly salary. And he works with a morally challenged president who wants to pay for tax breaks for the rich while slashing $1.3 trillion from Medicaid, $550 billion in Medicare, and $10 billion from Social Security disability benefits. Not to mention, he also wants to spend $50 million on a parade for himself. This is not what this country, and this is not what this state, and this is not what the people that we represent here in the Bronx is about. Now, for my part, I pledge that I will work with my Bronx colleagues to build a wall. We're going to build a wall here, but that wall is going to be for something different. See, that wall is going to be designed to stop the cold-hearted policies coming from Washington. Thank you. That wall is going to protect the poor. the working class, our children, our schools, our senior citizens, and our immigrants, regardless of their legal status. Now, I continue to work hard with my colleagues, with the borough president, with the mayor, to make this county, especially the 32nd Senate District, the envy of New York State. I pledge each and every one of you to serve with honor, respect, and dignity. Thank you. Thank you, each and every one of you, from the bottom of my heart, for the support. But let's not take anything for granted. I urge each and every one of you to make sure that you come out and vote on April 24th. Now, before I finish, I want to acknowledge the person that I hope will be my boss in the Senate if God ordains that I be elected on April 24th. And she is here with us. She is one of the powerful, strong women in New York State government. And that's our leader, my future leader, Andrea Stewart-Cousins, Senator. Thank you, Senator. She came all the way from Westchester County to be here with us. Thank you so much. And of course, another person that's in leadership in the Senate, and that's Senator Mike Gianaris of Astoria. Thank you. So again, what you have done is honor me and my family. We're so grateful. We will always maintain an open door policy. I want to do what my friend, my mentor, a father figure, someone who helped me get politics, someone who was always supportive of me, someone who, even though we don't always agree on policy, never had a litmus test for me. He's not here today because he had an event at his church, and we all know, first and foremost, that's his passion. But I know he's here in spirit and in heart, and that's your former Senator Ruben Diaz, our new Councilman Ruben Diaz Sr. I do not take this responsibility lightly. I will always have an open door policy for each and every one of you. I don't profess to know more than each and every one of you. Many of you know a lot more than I do. But I will profess that I will always listen to you. I will always try to do my best to help you, and never forget that it is you who elected me. Thank you all very much, and God bless. God bless America. God bless New York. God bless the Bronx County.
Okay, before you all leave or start eating, I want to acknowledge the presence of former Assemblywoman and Speaker Pro Tem of the Assembly and former Deputy Borough President, Aurelia Green. And I'd like to call up the person who is leading our party, who has built and strengthened our party and strengthened the Bronx, and that's the chairman of our executive committee, our county leader, Assemblyman Marcos Crespo.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be brief. But first of all, I think we know we had an order of business, but understand that we are dealing with a lot of emotions as a community. We have seen our fair share of gun violence, but I think we should acknowledge, normally we ask for a moment of silence, but I think that the beautiful lives that were lost deserve some celebration. If we could give a round of applause for the victims, for the families, for the state of Florida, for the people who were tarnished. And the reason that I ask for an applause and not a moment of silence is that we cannot be silent about these issues. We cannot be silent about guns in our streets. We cannot be silent about lives lost and call it business as usual. We need to do better than that. We need to be louder than that. And we need to demand change in federal policies around guns. As we sit here tonight, the FBI and the mayor of the city of New York are on Matthews Avenue in the Bronx, holding a press conference because a local teacher and his brother were found with bomb-making material in their apartment. That is happening as we speak.
On Matthews Avenue?
When we talk about these issues, when Luis Sepulveda mentions the issues that he's going to fight for, you have to understand that we don't do this job because it's the only option we have. Actually, Assemblyman Sepulveda had a very lucrative legal business and career, and he took us time away from that to serve, to make sure that we do what we're supposed to do, which is to guide policy in the right direction.
No.
One of our county committee members stood up earlier and acknowledged the issues that are important to our seniors. Well, our state policies on how we service our most vulnerable, whether it's our seniors or our children, the state has a role to play. And now is not the time for us to drop the ball on these issues. Now is the time to trust in people who have committed themselves to public service, individuals who have experience in this. I get to be the chairman of the Democratic Party. But when I was still a young boy watching cartoons and eating cereal in the living room of my apartment, Assemblyman Luis Sepulveda was already an activist in the community. Not that he's that much older than me. But he started fairly young as a community organizer and as an activist, and helped others get elected. And it wasn't until later in his career that he had an opportunity, ran, and he's been doing things the right way, and we are creating unity in our borough. We are working together, all of my colleagues that are here. And I want to acknowledge some of those party leaders that are with us as well. District leaders Andrea Siegel, Cynthia Cox, Marco Sierra, Julia Rodriguez, State Committeemen Joe McManus and Julio Sepulveda, our vice chairs Linda Kemp and Rosemary Ordonez Jenkins, our council Marissa Soto, our parliamentary Mariela Salazar, our secretary Jeff Dinowitz, county committee chair Latoya Joyner, and all the electeds, our deputy borough president, our colleagues from Queens and Westchester, and Andrew Stewart Cousins, our Democratic leader, and Senator Janaris, all of us go up to Albany to make sure that policies are directed to address the needs of our neighborhood. When we do that, we spend months out of the year away from our district, away from our children, away from our wives and spouses. We sacrifice to make sure that we go up there to lend the voice in behalf of our community. We have to acknowledge that because this job isn't always easy. But it requires somebody dedicated to do it for all the right reasons. And I know, because I'm a resident of this district, that in Luis Sepulveda, we have the state senator that we're going to need, that we deserve, and who has the experience to get the job done, who's going to say what needs to be said, who's going to propose what needs to be proposed, who's going to stand up and fight when he has to do so. He's going to hold his own friends accountable as much as his enemies. He is the senator that we need in this district to follow in the leadership that's Reverend Diaz left behind up in Albany. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for supporting him. Thank you for being a part of this Democratic Party. God bless you and enjoy the meal tonight.
The meeting's not adjourned. The meeting's
Thank you
not
everyone
adjourned.
for attending. The meeting is now adjourned.
Now
Thank
it's
you.
adjourned. Okay.